Alright, it's time to do a deck profile. This is going to be for the SkullServants. I haven't done a deck profile in so long, but we are currently stuck in this whole coronavirus COVID thing. So me and my buddies actually stuck in a casual mode, just playing with the kids and just me and him. So we decided to build a bunch of random decks. Mainly this one, the new set Blazing Vortex came out with the new Skull Servant card. So I got excited and rebuilt the deck, and this is also to commemorate our best buddy Goose, who's unfortunately no longer with us. Is one of his favorite archetype, his favorite type. Um, so yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and go through the deck profile. So that's his like favorite Bulbasaur. So a little symbol for him. So starting off with the king himself, three king of the Skull Servants. Let's see if we can zoom that in. So the king himself gains 1,000 for each Skull Servants in the grave, and most of his support they actually changed their name to Skull Servants. So he gets pretty beefy. He gets from past 8,000 and such. But this version is a combo version. So I actually utilized him to bring him out from the deck, and then just keeps going from there. I might show like a test hand or so. The new card, which makes the deck super super good, White Baking. What White Baking does is if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add two Skull Servant cards uh, from the deck to your hand, and then you discard one. So ideally, you want to add White Mare, and then you discard White Prince, because White Prince is going to go off as well. It also has a secondary effect that if your level 3 or lower zombie monster is going to be destroyed by a battle card effect, you can discard him as well. So he works both your turn and your opponent's turn. And then the best guy, this is not a once per turn. That's what makes the whole engine just keeps on going and going. Every time White Prince goes to the graveyard, you can send Lady in White and Skull Servant himself. So you just send all three of these to the grave. After that, you banish White Prince and any of the other, primarily all three of them, but any of the Skull Servant cards, and then you can summon King from the deck. So it just keeps extending. Um, so yeah, the lady has like that effect where it can be it's unaffected by spell and traps. That rarely comes up because I primarily use them just as like an engine. Uh, with this deck, I've done a bunch of test hands, and I can bring out two Saryuja and then bring out an Appaloosa with four materials still. One of my favorite White Mare. It's just one of like the best extender. You'll see I'm actually playing Where Art Thou, because it actually searches this, and you can discard this to summon back the Lady of White, or King himself if he end up banishing it. So, and it's also not a once per turn. This one's probably the one that you can cut off for other cards like card destruction. I haven't had any good luck with card destruction. I end up discarding the cards, and then the cards I drew aren't really helping. It's weird how my luck is with that card. So, uh, White Princess. If it's normal summon or special summon, you can dump White Prince. So it kind of gets your whole engine going as well. Also, she's the only light, so it kind of helps out within the engine. So that helps out, and it's also a level 3, so you can make Livier with her. So for the non-Skull Servant, I'm playing triple Gozuki because dumping your zombie monsters is really helpful. Uh, Mainly, you want to dump Mizuki. If not, you can dump the White Baking or dump the White Prince, depending on like what you're missing within your combo pieces. Mizuki is just really great because it just keeps reviving, so it just keeps extending. And then since the main goal is to send your monsters to the grave. You have triple uni zombie, and it's great because it's a tuner. You can actually make the chaos ruler synchro, and then you bring out uni zombie using solitaire. So it's just a standard zombie engine at that point. This one I decided to add on, and it's really great. It's such a great extender. The black collapse serpent and white robuster. Chaos space discarding a dark, which is white baking, white prince. It helps out, and then adding this, and then the chaos space spell card. It just gives you like that extra draw power too. So it's really great. It's working out well. And then I played a Union Carrier to bring out Destruction Sword, since the extra deck lock is gone. This is kind of like a neat replacement for it in a way. This locks out monster effects in the graveyard. It still helps. I can also play Dweller because there's a bunch of level 4, but this helps out as well. If you're going first. If you're going second, you want to equip Doomsday Horror. Horror will, because you'll have a bunch of banished dark monsters. There's times where you keep banishing, and then the king ends up being only at like 2,000, 3,000 attack. So what you want to do is Union Carrier into this, equip it, link the monster off that you equip this to, and by game mechanics, it's getting destroyed. So Doomsday Horror will trigger and put all your dark back to the graveyard. Now your King of the SkullServants would be 8,000-10,000 attack. So and then for the last monsters, we have Baller Drop and Banshee. Since you end up like dumping them, this is not your main goal in this deck. These two cards are really great, but it's not your main goal. So you want to be able to dump Banshee or just discard Banshee, whatever, get to the graveyard, and then use it to activate Zombie World. And then Baller Drop is just a really good boss monster. And now for the spells, we only play 2 Zombie World. Same thing. That's not your primary goal. So, but having Zombie World does help out with the combo. It does help out if you end up going first. It locks out like some of the other decks. And then one of my favorite every time I'm building like a combo based deck, kind of gimmicky deck, is Wear Up Now. You can as long as you have a level 1 monster on the field, you can add a level 1 monster. It can be any, so this is not specifically just for SkullServants. Unfortunately, you take 2,000 damage if you did not normal summon the added monster. So, or monster with its same name. But it doesn't really matter. You'll take 2,000, but you get that extender. So if you have White Mare, then you can just summon back from the banish. You can, fun fact, you can also search hand traps if you want to play hand traps. Another one of my personal favorites, DDR. Discarding a card is not even a minus. You get to summon Mizuki mainly from the banish. Since Mizuki's a Earth, the horror can't put it back, and one of the only ways that you can bring Mizuki back to the graveyard is DDR and Livier. Let's see, and then also this Burial from Different Dimension. You can also bring Mizuki back. These are like old cards, so they're not once per turn. So you can keep, let's say you put 2 Mizuki into the cycle. You can keep banishing those Mizuki and then put him back, and then just keep extending from there. And then from there, Triple Allure. I love and hate this card. I have a love-hate relationship with this because every time I have Allure, I'm playing a full dark deck. But for some reason, every time I have it, I open up with Allure. I have a bunch of spells, or that one light monster that I'm playing, or the Earth, the Mizuki. It's just so weird. But it is great still because there's times where you can Allure into, like, let's say, Doom King, and then just DDR it, things like that. Or weird enough, this happens a lot where I will activate Allure and just risk it, just gamble it, and I'll end up drawing into some Mizuki or Gozuki, and then end up just discarding them, which it's still not that bad. It's not ideal play, but it's not It's not bad. Triple KO space for the baby dragons. Uh, Double pot of acquisitiveness. I really really like this card. I was playing three, but I had to cut one to fit in the Doomsday Horror and the Destruction Sword. And also, this is one of the newer cards. So this is one of the cards that you can only activate one per turn. And then I draw a lot because of Saryuja. Um, I there's a lot of times where you actually still see it. And then for the one offs, Reborn, 1 for 1, Foolish, really powerful cards. So that's why they're limited, and it really helps out a lot. For the extra deck, for the Link ones, we have Link Haribo and Anima. Um, I rarely use these guys because there's a lot of extenders, so I actually immediately go into the Link twos, which is um, a lot more in terms of extending, and it's a lot more powerful. But there's times where if you just have, like, let's say a white baking in hand, you can start off your combo by just going into one of these guys, and then it gets sent to the graveyard. For the Link twos, there's Vampire Sucker, really great. You draw a card for a when you special summon a zombie monster. There's IP Masquerena, Union Carrier, and Barricade Board Blocker. Mainly, this is for the discard, but it actually helps because there's times where you mill your zombie world. So in the end phase, you can still get to add zombie world back to your hand. So since you're only playing two, Union Carrier, you have those two targets: the Doomsday Horror or the Destruction Sword. I mean, really depends on what you have. You can even equip Banshee, so Banshee can be in the graveyard. So on your opponent's turn, you can just banish Banshee from the grave and then activate Zombie World. So, and then the last link to would be just Nightmare Phoenix. So just a generic link to that's really good. For the link 3, for the Masquerena play Unicorn, I'm trying to fit Abramax into this deck because Abramax is actually really really good, and most of the time you have a Union Carrier, Barricade Board Blocker, and IP Masquerena. Um, so you can actually just link IP and one of those other guys into the Abramax, but I just haven't had the space because the other ones would be for the Link 4. I play the Appaloosa, which there's a lot of times, I want to say 90% of the time that I'm play testing, this will always have 4 names. And so was with Saryuja. I always try to make it with 4 names just so I can get that draw. So I thought about cutting the second Saryuja into the Abramax, but there's times where I'm just like, I really want to keep drawing. It's so fun to draw. For the Exceed, this one actually is super helpful because there's a bunch of link ones, and if you have white prints as well, you detach white prints, you reveal the top card. If it's a spell and trap, you add it to your hand. If it's not, it's a monster. It's good to go to the graveyard anyways. And then white prints will also trigger since it's sent to the graveyard. Levier to bring back your Mizuki or your other, or even your white prince, whichever one you need from the banish. Dweller, because there's quite a bit of level force in here, and Dweller is just a really good card. And then one of my favorites, Chaos Ruler. So this guy is amazing. He will just excavate 5 cards, and you get to add a dark. So if you mill a white mare, you add it to your hand, or if you or you can just simply just add a dark, so you have like a fuel for Allure of Darkness. So yeah, that is the deck profile. Um, it's been working out really great. So I'm gonna just kind of like flash that right there. So far I haven't had any kind of problem. The build seems to be solid. The only thing is maybe the white princess. It doesn't seem like it's that helpful, but there's certain synergy with it. It's a light. It's a level 3. I may try out card destruction again. Other than that, feel free to try out the deck. All right, peace out.